Hello, 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 and welcome back, family, to my channel. My name is Huddy, and tonight we're talking New York by Night. As always, this video is not scripted, and these opinions are mine and mine alone. Just a quick disclaimer before we start. Some of you may know that I am a community ambassador for World of Darkness, and so any teasers that you might see for upcoming episodes of New York by Night were likely made by me, meaning I did have early access, but I recorded my thoughts, or at the very least wrote down some bullet points before moving on to the next episode. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about Season 1, Episode 5, Darkness Clings, shall we? Just as the episodes before, Jason begins the episode by talking about that tiered, blood-soaked cake, this time talking about the very top layer, the Kindred who pull the puppet strings of all the others on the city streets, who have nothing to worry about, but those on whose backs they stand, discovering who they are and what they are doing. The episode begins the night after the meeting with Cat Costello, and every member of the coterie wakes hungry, always a great start to a session of Vampire the Masquerade. Isaac feeds himself before meeting up with his coterie, but Ray brings up the idea of hunting as a pack, which made me chuckle because there's a particular faction of vampires who refer to their coteries as packs, and although I'm sure it was just a reference to the gangrel's predilection for wolf-like behavior, I could just imagine a Sabbat listening in on that conversation with a smile. Seraph is down for the idea with a compromise. She has a herd, specifically Quark, Blue, and Spam, who we have met before, who are always down for playtime, as they call it. And of course, we get to hear Jason say bing bong and shake the spray cans, shuk, 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 which is always delightful. As they wait for Seraph's herd to arrive, Ray puts on his dad pants and gives Seraph a lecture about being so willing to be bait as she offered last episode, but Seraph laughs it off, much to Ray's disappointment. Ray, Fuego, and Seraph take their fill of Spam, Quark, and Blue, and before they take off, Seraph tells them about a new art project she wants them to take care of, specifically spray painting "We Suck" on a brick wall. As Fuego and Ray head to Isaac's, Seraph makes a detour to pick up the dead drop her sire Argus told her they would leave for her in a garbage can in Port Morris. Inside, Seraph finds a leather-bound journal, and the contents are in a language not immediately understandable, save for a sticky note that says, "See you soon." In response, Seraph spray paints the bench gold. Fuego confronts Ray about his closed-off energy towards her the last few nights, and Ray admits that he has a hard time trusting himself around her, that he's not sure if it's her power or just her, if she's genuinely someone they enjoy to be around, or if it's just her magnetism. In response, Fuego activates Awe, and Ray employs Unswayable Mind, leaving them at an impasse. Finally, at Isaac's, the coterie discuss what happened last night, specifically fighting the White, pondering what Cat Costello had told them, and that the creature was the work of the Sabbat, but was it recent work or something disturbed by the development of the Crescent? And speaking of the Crescent, the question is now, how did they get under the building and find the skull of a long-dead sea captain? Coterie, although they are still willing to do this, also do not trust Cat to keep the Putanescas from $250,000. Reminiscing about yesterday reminds Ray and Seraph of the aches and pains they have from fighting that monstrosity, and although Seraph heals all of her damage, she winds up at Hunger 4, a hair's breadth from frenzy. It becomes immediately noticeable to the rest of the coterie, and Isaacs suggests that she feeds once more because her coterie are not on the menu, to which Ray asks if Kindred can feed from other Kindred. The answer, of course, is yes, so Ray offers his wrist to Seraph, to which Isaac does this little like ta-ta-ta-na-na-na sound that is just mwah, perfect. I love Isaac's little intermittent noises as things unfold during episodes. Isaac informs them about the dangers of the blood bond, so that option is put away, put a pin in it for now anyway. Fuego offers Seraph the rank old blood bag from her purse, but it only satisfies one hunger. So Isaac suggests that they stop for a snack on the way to the Crescent. An old dive bar, Dooley's, catches Seraph's eye, and heading inside, she targets a singular man, someone who looks like they're here on their own in what must be my favorite interaction of the series so far. Seraph, annoyed and in a hurry, hangry one might say, asks him if he's from around here, and the guy comments that that's an old line, to which Seraph responds that she's old-fashioned, and the man says, "Oh yeah, me too, m'lady." I was eating dinner while watching the episode, and man, was that a mistake, because food was all over my shirt from laughing so hard. It was totally worth it though. What an amazing exchange. After saying "m'lady" a few more times, Seraph takes her fill of his blood and leaves her card in his pocket. Back on track, the coterie continue making their way toward the crescent, and when they arrive, they see that the night work is still happening, with the large crane currently being operated and the scaffolding dotted with construction workers. Trying to come up with a plan to get around the workers unseen, Seraph looks for some animals to chat with, and notices a single crow sitting on top of a fence, watching them with intense curiosity. Seraph activates Feral Whispers, a power, by the way, I am so glad to see. We didn't see it once in LA by Night, since Jasper, I believe, did not take any dots in animalism, and I don't believe we got to see Ramona use it either, so it's just so great. Animalism is one of my favorite disciplines. Talking to the crow, the coterie hears her caw at it, and of course it asks for food, specifically eyes. Then tells Seraph to wait and flies away, returning with someone the coterie does not know, a barefoot gangrel named Bree, played by Gina DeVivo. Isaac is quick to inform this newcomer that they are on their territory, and Bree quickly apologizes, telling them that she can't resist climbing around a construction site, that these types of areas are usually great for drawing in a certain type of crowd of tasty ne'er-do-wells, but no luck in finding any yet, claiming to have only been there for an hour or so. Isaac asks if she's seen an underground entry site, and she confirms that she has. In true Fuego fashion, she activates Awe, but just as Ray did earlier in the night, Bree utilizes Unswayable Mind. And speaking of Ray, he decides to leave his brand new suit jacket in the car, learning from past mistakes it seems, and the coterie follow Bree's crow, Toot Sweet, to the closest access point underground. Isaac, Ray, and Bree all activate Eyes of the Beast in order to see in the total darkness that awaits them, and Seraph slips her arm into Isaac's and Fuego's into Ray's before they embark. As they travel through what can only be described as moist, dank darkness of what will maybe someday be an underground car park, the coterie are suddenly lit up by industrial halogen flashlights wielded by two security officers, one of whom is holding a pistol. Ray takes the opportunity to distract them by claiming he's picking out his parking spot, and when the security guard looks to where Ray is pointing, he strikes, leaping on top of the man, and Bree, without hesitation, flanks with Ray as an assist, while Isaac merely adds Fuego to his arm candy, letting the gangrels deal with it. But the attack doesn't go as well as they had hoped. And the guard with the gun shoots, but the attack doesn't go as well as they had hoped, however, and the guard with the gun shoots Bree, and the other wields that heavy-duty flashlight against Ray, both of them taking damage. Seraph, using the torch of her cell phone, runs back to Toot Sweet, who is watching the entrance, and informs them that there are some tasty-looking eyes in there. Fuego, also using her phone's light, removes herself from Isaac and employs some dominate on the guard with the gun, demanding that he give it to her, and she quickly turns it around on him, puts it under his chin, and pulls the trigger, mortally wounding him. My jaw was on the floor. I love Fuego so much, and I am also so worried for her humanity track. She is so young and so hungry and so ambitious, very Ventrue. She's riding through this unlife fast and furious, and I just know that a reckoning is coming for her, which makes me both excited for the story potential and super scared for her character. Ray and Bree attack the second man as well, but not before he manages to get off a help on his radio, and in response, Bree activates feral weapons and severs his vocal cords. Brutal. This turned wild and violent fast, and I am unliving for it. Ray also has a hard time when he sees that the security guard with a gun is dead, another person dead either directly or indirectly because of Fuego and himself, and it probably doesn't help that Toot Sweet begins eating out his eyes. Bree attempts to make him feel better, at least in her own way it seems, by fishing out the guard's ID and suggesting he send flowers to his family to alleviate the guilt, to which Ray responds that he'll add his name to the list. Poor Ray. Fuego doesn't seem to be faring much better, admitting that she's never had to hide a body before, to which Isaac responds correctly that she should have thought of that before she shot him. Ray suggests taking the bodies with them in the hopes of maybe dumping them in the former watery grave of the HMS Hussar, but before anything could be decided, the coterie are interrupted once again by two construction workers, who assume that they are future condo owners or investors and tell them that they can't come check the place out without telling anyone. One of the workers also casually mentions that they moved all the stuff down there anyway, to which Isaac demands in his daddy, angry voice, to know what stuff they're talking about. And of course, they're referring to skeletal remains that they removed to a warehouse without reporting it to the proper authorities because of quote-unquote schedules. The workers easily removed with Mesmerize, Bree offers to dump both bodies into some freshly poured concrete, but Ray says he will take the living man to the hospital. Isaac warns him that the living man has seen them all and saving him will be a liability. In response, Ray cuts open his wrist and feeds the man his blood, creating his first ghoul to the disgust of Seraph, who promptly walks away from the scene. Ray joins her soon, taking the name tag of the guard to, I suppose, find him later maybe. Bree then moves to comforting Fuego, who asks Bree if if unlife gets easier. She responds by saying the hunger never gets easier, but she loves what she is now, that she is strong and powerful and is now the predator as opposed to the prey that she was as a mortal. Apparently, the night of violence and Bree's speech got more than just blood pumping, and Fuego and Bree share a kiss. Ray and Isaac decide to leave together, while Fuego, Seraph, and Bree decide to walk. Seraph, clearly angry at Ray's decision, punches a wall, and offhandedly mentions that she's not going to leave her mom a ghoul, not for much longer anyway. Yes, I want to see the coterie take down another sire, just like in LA by Night. What a dream episode to think about. Seraph shows Bree the journal from Argus, but Bree only recognizes that the language is Greek, and she doesn't speak it. Before Bree leaves, Seraph activates Cloak of Shadows to give Fuego and Bree some privacy, and they share another moment before Bree activates the protean power Earthmeld and sinks into the ground. Seraph comes out of her obfuscate at the same time, causing Fuego to declare, "I've got to get cooler powers." In the car, Ray asks Michael if Isaac can ever make him just human again, and Michael attempts to silently get Isaac's permission to speak, causing an outburst from Ray, exclaiming that he's not asking Isaac, he's asking him. Michael lets Ray know in no uncertain terms that he works for Isaac, not Ray. Isaac tells Ray that should he stop giving Michael some of his vitae every month, Michael will revert back to human, and Michael immediately says that he doesn't want that. Isaac also scolds Ray, warning him to never talk to Michael like that again, and demands respect from Ray for all the hospitality he has shown, which was just so very hot of him to do. There's a lot for Ray to think about, a lot for all of the coterie to think about, and I can't wait to see what the next night brings. If you haven't already, please go follow the World of Darkness on Twitch and YouTube, and if you can, sub to those channels as well. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to me and let me know your thoughts on Episode 5, Darkness Clings, in the comments. As always, I'll see you in the next one.